I want to talk about some of your opponents in the past, some of the legends that you worked with in the history of professional wrestling. I'm gonna just say a name. You can either give a word or you can give like a story or something about them if you like. Just wrestlers,
Okay.
I think people would love to hear you talk about. First off, Harley Race.
A bad man.
I've
Great
heard the
man,
story.
but a great man and a bad man. And to this day, the real world champion.
100%, 100%.
He was he was a world champion all the 24/7, brother. Don't think he wasn't.
We've heard the stories about how at one point
You needed to travel with him, brother, to know the story.
we've heard the stories about how you at one point wanted to be rambling Ricky Rhodes. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the American Dream, Dusty
Oh
Rhodes.
God, most charismatic wrestler of all time.
100%.
Yeah, no question. The most charismatic guy I've ever worked with.
Andre the Giant.
Great guy. Just later in life, it just became really hard for him to have any peace, and it drove him. I think it kind of pushed him over the edge. I mean, he couldn't go anywhere through an airport. He couldn't. Just had no privacy. I mean, if you think like a guy like Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali or Tiger Woods or something like that couldn't go somewhere, imagine Andre the Giant, right?
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of bars with him. People just won't leave him alone. And after a while, even though they don't mean to be, they don't mean to be malicious, but it gangs up on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about how people approach you, isn't it? Some people just assume, hey, it's Andre, hey, and then it's not. It's the same applies to me. Like I like if people are nice to me, I'll do anything for them. If they're a smart ass, they're out the door.
Yeah. On the flip side, I've met you a couple of times in person. You've been nothing but pleasant and nice, so I can confirm that. Yeah. And I've always tried to be respectful. That's why I didn't try to over.
We're fighting for a woman.
Yeah. I've never tried to overtalk or like take too much of your time. Just said hello and introduce myself. So you've always been pleasant. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Best performer, best babyface in history of the business.
100%. Did he ever work heel?
Nobody. Even the only guy close is Shawn Michaels, who is the best all around worker.
Yeah.
In the history.
I've heard you say that a couple of times on shows. I listened to you on Chris Van Vliet and with Shannon Sharp, and you said that Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yep,
so I'm curious, who would be number two?
Number two would be but he didn't work both ways. It would be Steamboat.
Okay, sweet. Ricky Morton.
If he were bigger, he'd be in the top 10 in the business if he'd been bigger. But as a performer, he didn't take second to too many guys.
Have you seen his son wrestle yet?
I have not. Is he good?
He's all right. He's good. He's his dad's with him. I had him on the show. He's very motivated about working this business.
Yeah.
He's got that. He's got that thing.
I can't say enough good about Ricky Morton.
Another one of my favorites of all time, the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper.
Yeah, tremendous. Yeah. I'm never going to call him the greatest worker of all time, but brother, he was fearless and didn't mind. He stood up for the boys. He was a really, really good worker, but he had a great interview. I mean, one of the top or 2 or 3 interviews ever, and he just he had his own style, but he did his own thing, and you can't knock a guy for that. Stood up for the business, took care of his family. Just a wonderful guy.
I remember once back in like a few years ago. I don't know if I'd say the same thing today, but a few years ago, I remember I messaged your daughter Charlotte, and I was like, something about Roddy and your dad when they would cut promos together remind me of when you and Becky would cut promos together. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities there where Becky was a little bit more wild and Charlotte was the finesse, and I was like you were the finesse, and Roddy was a little bit more wild. I'm like, there's a comparison there you guys don't see, but it's there. Terry Funk,
one of the all-time greats.
Yeah,
Nobody ever. There'll never be another Terry Funk.
Another one of my all-time favorites, the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Macho, great guy. I feel bad because I look back on how he just lived in a world of paranoia.
Yeah.
And it was something that probably happened in his childhood, but he just lived in a world of paranoia. And it's like he just couldn't relax. Great worker, everything. I loved his company, but he was just always guarded,
Fair enough. A little intense.
Yeah, and just, I mean, I don't know. I can only just say great things about Randy. But I mean, I just feel I look back on and I think about his career and I just think he just was guarded all the time. That had to be something that happened early in life. But a tremendous guy.
Bret the Hitman Hart, the Canadian in me had to ask.
Huh?
So the Canadian in me had to ask.
Yeah, no, I love the Hitman. We've had our differences, but that was all just bullshit. You know what I mean? Now he and I are very close. We talk at least once a month.
Next up, we'll say. Oh, I had a name in my head. We'll go with Hulk Hogan.
See the Hulkster all the time.
Yeah, you guys are pretty much kind of working together right now, right?
Yeah, no, we know that. Yeah, that's the world of anybody that found fault with me and Hulk. It was just because Bischoff wanted it to be that way. It's the way he ran his business.
Yeah,
I've always admired Hulk. When my son was sick, Hulk lent me money. I mean, he's been there, man.
Yeah, that's moving forward from
And we
that.
remain very close. We remain close today. I just saw him last week.
Yeah, no, and it's great to see.
There's only a couple of us left.
That's what I was gonna say. It's always great to see you guys together because,
Yeah.
the way things have been.
And he found a very nice person. He's married again and very happy.
Yeah, he's been super cool. I also have a good relationship with Steve Cardillo from Cardillo Weight Belts. So he connected me and Hulk back in the day, and he's always been super nice and kind to me. We've done a bunch of giveaways together from the shop with Ron and everyone. So I have nothing but great things to say about Hulk.